Hello and welcome. This is Ayana Lahi, and I'm so very happy that you are here with all of us today in B1 BU. We are diving into the theme, Stop Feeding Your Pain. We can feed ourselves physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, energetically. We address all of the aspects of ourself. When we work with the energy of an emotion, we are working with the core of it. When you take the word apart, emotion, you are experiencing energy in motion. The E equals energy. E is energy. Energy is the life force within inside of everything. Everything around you has a connection to the energy. When you give yourself the opportunity to understand pain, you come to realize that every moment is an opportunity to create more pain or to work with the pain that we have and to end how we feed our pain. We can resist our life lessons. We can resist opening up to learning from what Spirit is teaching us. We are all connected into the truth ray, the spiritual knowledge and wisdom, the simple inner words that driving and yet very prominent within our consciousness, truth. Pain can come in many different forms. Pain can be given to us from our family of origin. Pain can be given to us from a relationship that we are in. Pain can often be disguised as love. A person who is living in pain in themselves, consciously or unconsciously, instills pain onto another. Abuse comes from that level of creating pain and violating another person because the pain is so overwhelming. We're taught in our culture, as all of you know, to numb the pain. Alcohol numbs pain. Sugar numbs pain. Certain foods help to block the emotional body responses. Alcohol is so underrated as a drug to the nervous system. And within side of our human consciousness, we all experience pain because we lack the trust to really fully rely upon our spiritual connection. Spiritual is always an odd word for me because it implies something separate from ourself. And when we think of spirituality as separation, that it's an altered state or a different place to live in, we can rationalize our choice to separate. The separation from the core energy, whether it's a frozen energy, so it becomes a wound within inside of ourself that keeps trying to unlock itself and unblock itself through going through challenges that create more pain or show up in our life to diminish pain. When you are really being honest with your relationship with pain, you begin to walk an awakened pathway. I've seen and met so many people who don't know what to do with their pain and yet try with all their heart to love and be a good person. And their own personal suffering becomes so great that they're not able to really reach and fulfill what they came here to really pursue. Our pain is a teacher, but there's a difference between learning from our pain and feeding the pain so that it grows or it just stays quiet. We all choose our own different way of doing it. I was born into a family of undealt with pain, and yet I saw it at the young age 4, and I didn't understand the language that was being spoken amongst a group of elders in my family of origin. And I watched and felt in their, what I now know as being their auric field, as being the thoughts in their mind, and what their beliefs were connected to within inside of themselves. I observed and I made a decision at the age of 4 that no matter what, I wanted to learn and understand how not to get caught up in that excruciating psychological and emotional pain that had manifested in their bodies as crippling arthritis in their hands. And I was the only one in my family of origin who could see through the grid of the mind. And everyone has pain. The family of origin I come from went through enormous emotional pain, through persecution of their lineage and their immediate family. And I was raised in what I would call a safe environment physically, but emotionally was treacherous. I couldn't walk on anybody else's set ways. And if I did, I would be humiliated, shamed, and at times physically abused because it triggered my parents, when I was young, inability to deal with their own pain. So I was meant to, and I was supposed to stay quiet. No, it sounds unbelievable, right? To have to fulfill their emotional needs. And yet I'm sure that some of you out there know what I'm speaking about, where your own presence and input from your presence and perceptions can trigger someone else into hostility. So I learned how to stop feeding their pain, but in an unhealthy way. And I got to a point in my teen years where I made the choice to find my voice. I did it through dance and through movement. And I was able to work at a pretty high level of training in the dance scene in New York City. And through all the dance and movement, I got to a point where I had to really touch in my own pain in order to be able to feel more as a human being, as a dancer, as a passionate seeker to find God within inside of myself. The pain that you are given from your ancestry can't be stopped. It can only be transformed inside of you so that you free yourself and open up the channels of wisdom and true power that only comes through you tapping, touching, and reconnecting to the source of who you are, that source of the universal power, that life energy is inside of you. And by becoming one with it, it guides you home to yourself. We create our ego self, the part of you that you created in order to withstand other people's projections, patterns, expectations upon you. And you then surrender your own true self, your own true will to the energies of the ego, the false self. And that disempowerment that we do within ourself creates pain. By seeing and getting to know the ego you begin to build your power so that you don't have to numb or deny, separate from, or bypass the pain within inside of yourself that was created by your action to separate from what you had created in yourself. We also, all of us, on a collective level and a personal level, feel the pain that others do to other people. And we create pain and we feed the pain through continuing abuse. And each and every one of us has to find a place of refuge within inside that is the strength and the still point of that peace and that power. Being peaceful doesn't necessarily mean that you are passive. Being powerful doesn't mean that you are aggressive. Being powerful does mean that you are centered in the source within inside of all of you, and you have come to peace with the battling parts in yourself that create pain. So take a look at anything that you might be doing consciously or unconsciously to bypass your own pain. You might have expectations of how your life should be going, what you had hoped would happen in a project you've been involved with. You might feel like your attempts to succeed failed. You might feel an isolation and a loneliness amidst your successes. You might have the pain of wondering, well, is this all there is? There's got to be more than this. You might be dealing with the pain of feeling as though you can't be in this world. There isn't any place for you, that you don't really matter, and that no matter what you do, things won't change. that the false power that comes from ego, misperceptions about power, thinking power is just being able to be free and do whatever you want. And that's not power and that's not freedom. How do you deal with the pain that's up in so many of you right now about the state of the world? And watching how the feminine energy, the power of life itself, the creation source, and the masculine, that penetrating light that is all encompassing to structure and mend life. How do you work with seeing the separation of those energies in our external world that touches our everyday life, while the evolutionary empowerment pattern, the matrix of what we are here to accomplish in this time period spiritually? To me, I share with you the word spirituality means to me living life. And there's no difference between spirit and the body. And we've been taught that there is a difference. And that if you honor the body, honor the earth, that it's a weak place to live from. Yet, look at the planet. We have created pain. And we're feeding the separation, the pain, through how we treat our earth, how our bodies, and how our mind is being numbed and separated from the true source of life within inside of you. So our evolutionary empowerment, and yes, this is the name of the global village that's part of my program that you can see at my website, ayanalahi.com, IANALAHI.com, the Evolutionary Empowerment Global Village. And you are given the group mentoring if you wish, and an extensive course library to expand your awareness and your success at navigating your journey into yourself, into the whole you, not just a part where there's going, oh boy, I don't know why I can't make a shift in my life. I'm covering in this vast training that's in the Spirit Gateways Institute, the roadmap that you make use of, because your journey into wholeness, then into oneness, is your personal journey. It looks different for each person, the circumstances in your life, your past life experiences, your family of origin, sanskaras, the patterns, the impressions that were passed to you, and what you brought forth into this lifetime all contribute to how you are busting through, coming through what can at times be a complex system that is inside of you, through and out of these worlds of separation that create pain. I want to invite you to bring in the color blue and make that a part of you, and know that that color blue can help to reverberate your true essence from separation into reconnection, into wholeness. And just bring that blue light in, right into your mind, into your body, wherever it wants to go, and recalibrate through that color. It's very simple. You can do it often throughout the day, and just feel into the shift, very subtle or it could be very obvious, of what you experience each time that you do that. I want to thank you for joining all of us. And I want to wish you a really incredible rest of your day or evening. And know that I hold you in deep love and hold that space for your awakening. Loving you and sending many blessings. This is Ayana Lihi.